Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunuyam Devaha Bhadram Pashe Makshabhirajatraha Sthirairangai Stushtuvagang Sastanubhir Vyashemadevahitay Yadayuhu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. O gods, may we hear with our ears what is auspicious. O ye adorable ones, may we see with our eyes what is auspicious. May we sing praises to ye and enjoy with strong limbs and body the life allotted to us by the gods. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Good morning. Today, the title of our talk is Faith, Reason, and Shaping Our Destiny. I was a little bit afraid to select this topic. So, but I felt it is good to remind ourselves. It's not a popular topic, but it's good to remind ourselves about the need of real understanding of spirituality, of religion. So it's a humble effort to remind us. So I will, but I hope that will be at least little bit will be benefited from this discussion today. But what is need is little bit of attention. So today's topic is faith, reason, and shaping our destiny. Especially the time demands this kind of discussion. Faith, reason, and destiny represent three pillars of human understanding that have shaped civilizations, cultures, and individuals throughout history. At the heart of this exploration lies faith. It's an important thing. Faith, the deeply rooted conviction in something beyond empirical evidence, often grounded in religious and spiritual beliefs. Faith transcends the boundaries of reason, offering solace, hope, and meaning in the face of uncertainty and adversity. We need faith. But yet, faith is not merely blind adherence. It is a dynamic force that interacts with reason, shaping our perceptions, decisions, and interpretations of the world. Reason, on the other hand, represents the rational faculty of the human mind, grounded in logic, evidence, and critical inquiry. It seeks to understand the world through empirical observation, analysis, and deduction. Reason challenges faith, questioning its premises, assumptions, and implications. However, reason alone cannot provide all the answers to life's existential questions. It grapples with the mysteries of existence, the limits of knowledge, and the complexities of human experience. The relationship between faith and reason is a dialectical one, marked by sometimes tension, dialogue, and synthesis. While faith may appear antithetical to reason, they are not necessarily incompatible. Indeed, faith can inform reason, providing insights, values, and perspectives that transcend purely rational analysis. Conversely, reason can temper faith, scrutinizing its claims, testing its hypotheses, and challenging its dogmas. Together, faith and reason engage in a dynamic relationship of inquiry, discovery, and transformation. Amidst this interplay of faith and reason, destiny emerges as a central theme. The ultimate trajectory of human life. Destiny encompasses both individual fate and collective destiny. The unfolding of events guided by cosmic forces, divine providence, or human agency. Faith offers narratives of destiny, providing frameworks for understanding the purpose, meaning, and ultimate destination of human existence. Reason, meanwhile, seeks to unravel the mysteries of destiny, probing the underlying laws, patterns, and contingencies that shape our lives. Destiny beckons us, calls us forward, inviting us to chart our course amidst the mysteries of existence and depths of the human soul. Today, this discussion embarks on a journey beyond the surface of belief systems, delving into the intricate interplay of faith, reason, and destiny in shaping human thought, action, and existence. As we navigate this journey, may we embrace the power of faith, the clarity of reason, and the promise of destiny to illumine our path and shape our destiny. The spread of secular education and the increasing influence of science and technology are challenging traditional religious beliefs. Adherence to theological doctrine is giving way to the acceptance of the laws of physical science, and religious myths and legends are being set aside in favor of verifiable data. The concern for hereafter has been replaced with a focus on the here and now. An external God and an eternal life in heaven after death are looked at by many as fairy tales that people choose to believe in order to console themselves. While religious dogma condemns doubt and calls for unquestioning belief, science demands rational justification for any theory or belief. Thus, the ascendance of education and science has stirred up a controversy that divides the spiritually minded people into two camps, the upholders of faith and the believers in reason. Two sets of mind. So, the upholders of faith and the believers in reason, each has a lot to say. So, let us start with faith. What faith can contribute in our life. Traditionalists look upon faith as a final authority in deciding the validity of spiritual truth. For the faithful, the validity of a spiritual teaching rests solely on faith and never on reason. Because the reality of God is self-evident and not dependent upon denial or acceptance by the human mind. The proof of the existence of anything is the faith that it exists, one's faith is followed by one's perception and cognitions. In any walk of life, reason follows faith. We perceive a thing and then reason about it. To reason about something, you need a faith. It is there. So you cannot start a reason. This is also the process in the realm of religion. That which is envisioned by faith is systematized by reason for the understanding of the average mind. The prophets of different religions are guided by faith, not by reason. They perceive ultimate reality directly and speak about it with childlike simplicity. Philosophical thoughts develop later to systematize what has been realized through faith. And then myths and rituals are then created in an attempt to concretize what had been mystically experienced and philosophically systematized. Thus, we found all those religions in Christianity, in Hinduism, in Islam, everywhere you will find. First comes that realization to faith. Then, logically, you have to put it, all those things that prophet has realized or whatever he or she preached. Reason addresses the appearance of things and not their essential nature. It is dialectic and discursive in its approach and can only give diagrams of ultimate reality, not a fully realized portrait of it. Science reduces all things, even living beings, to ideas in order to understand them better. Faith, on the other, is concerned primarily with the essence of a thing and not merely with its appearance. It's not only about data. Science is all about data, and faith is beyond that. Faith is an appeal to the heart and not to the head. The essence of every religion is love of God or love of that which is ultimately real, and love is a function of faith and not of reason. Love is being and not knowing only. In order to love a person, one does not need to have knowledge of the physiology and of that person. In order to love a person, in order to love God, one does not need to reason about God's existence. The ultimate proof of God, or that which is absolutely real, depends on faith and not on reason. Faith brings everything to life. The concept of God becomes living reality when it is inspired by faith. The power of a saint or a prophet is not his or her philosophy, but that person's unwavering faith in the presence of God. You can think about Sri Ramakrishna in modern ages. So you can see him, how he's talking, how he was living his life. It was tangible. It was not philosophy. That followers felt attraction towards him. Something. It is visible. Reason begins with doubt and also ends with doubt. And such doubt springs from another kind of faith, faith in the infallibility of reasoning. The cure for doubt is therefore not reason but faith. One who continuously doubts and therefore reasons develops a taste for doubting and reasoning. And in the course of time, the habit becomes a means of sophisticated intellectual pleasure. Only reason can never be a perfect instrument of knowledge. The tools of reasons are inference, analogy, and assumptions, which can never provide a direct glimpse of ultimate truth. We remember once a Pandit, a scholar, who came to meet Sri Ramakrishna. And during conversation, if you are familiar with Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, there is a lot of stories, a lot of singing, and you can feel the transformation inside you. So that Pandit, he at the end of during the conversation, seeing all those things and feeling something inside, he was in tears. And he prayed to Sri Ramakrishna, "Sir, please do something for me. Whenever I see a person is laughing, so I forget to feel the sweetness behind the smile. It reminds me, if somebody smiles in front of me, it reminds upon which are the muscles that is acting behind that." Yeah, so it's real. It may not is happening in my personal life, but many we have the discussion will try to touch all those problems. It may not be mine, but it's good to know we may have that problem in a certain phase of our life. It happens. So, what reason often fails to take into account is that validity of a perception is determined by the perceiver's mind, which has limitations and biases. The goal of religion is not to have an opinion about truth, but a vision of it. Religion does not seek knowledge of God, but God. Faith is a superior kind of reasoning, but teaches us how the human individual is organically related to God, the totality. Any reasoning that takes the individual away from the totality is a form of self-love, the root cause of all the sufferings of life. Self-love springs from an egotism that has a childish belief in its own self-sufficiency. I know everything. Faith is the reason which focuses our attention to the smallness of the individual ego and the folly of self-love and urges us to love God, the center of our innermost being. Faith is the very essence of one's commitment to a spiritual goal. An aspirant who is devoid of faith meanders aimlessly like a boat filled with a cargo of uncertainties and doubts that floats around but never comes into the harbor. So there are limitations of the doubting mind. The theology of reason is based on doubt. The doubting mind is a victim of cynicism that scoffs at what it does not understand. Such a mind, little funny, doubts the validity of the scriptures, but believes in the infallibility of a newspaper report. It's true. Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna will find. Sri Ramakrishna, in those days, it was the beginning of newspaper era. Sometimes he mentioned that just in my neighborhood, there one building was collapsed, but you are saying it never happened because there is no mention in the newspaper. I can see, but there is no mention in newspaper. So very nice thing. Such a mind doubts the validity of the scriptures, but believes in the infallibility of a newspaper report. I'm not condemning newspaper. Please do not. But it happened. I remember when I was in Belur Math, and I was fortunate enough to participate in one of the biggest festival that we celebrate all over India, but particularly Belur Math, Durga Puja. Durga Puja is an important festival. I was a part of that, and we celebrate Durga Puja for 4 days or 5 days, you can say. So, in one of those days, after morning puja was done, we were having prasada. Hmm. So, so then we found it was second or third day maybe of the puja. So then one newspaper we saw in the table or somewhere else. So we were surprised to see it. So one reporter reported about the festival of Durga Puja at Belur Math, and he gave some ideas next year what to be happen next year. This year this is the thing. Next year the worshipper will be the pujari. It will be this person. So it was a different person than us. So then we are discussing. We never know that that about the thing. We are doing the puja, and what is printed there we do not know. But this person told everything. They printed. They gave the report. Then I realized personally. So what I know, the newspaper report is quite different from that. So it suggests that what is it there, many things that I do not know, may be different from the original thing, the real thing. No? Do you get that? Do you get that? So this only that portion I knew. That is why I could that understand that that this is a wrong report. So many things are happening, and many reports are there in newspaper, and maybe it is not nowadays in newspaper all over the media. So it may not be exactly true. I am saying maybe true, but not exactly true. So it can give us a hint. So it's a doubting mind. So such a mind doubts in. We sometimes say, "Oh, scriptures, everything is it's just to enchant some kind of fool brains. The scriptures, whatever is written there, it is a bogus thing. It's not true. Believe in reasoning, that kind of thing. So, but believes in the infallibility of a newspaper report. It is skeptical about the holiness of a saint, but is willing to accept the evil of the sinner. Those guided solely by reason are forced by their own intellectual rigidity to live in a universe filled with dry concepts and categories. Blind reason constantly challenges a person's faith or philosophy of life and makes him or her feel insecure and unhappy. Swamiji, in one of his Jnana Yoga lectures, he told that the tortures, and sometimes that the wealthy people tortures the poor people, the man in power, they tortures the ordinary the people, and he mentioned added the torture that by pandits upon the ordinary, that common brain, ordinary people. The pandits also do torture by imposing their thought on them. In Bhagavad Gita it was there. Na buddhi vedam janayet ajnanam karma sanginam. Never impart buddhi veda. Don't make them insecure. They have own belief, own way to proceed in their respective path. Don't disturb their understanding, but help them. Try to help them. Try to give more light. So it is saying, blind reason constantly challenges a person's faith or philosophy of life and makes him or her feel insecure and unhappy. Remember that Gulapma, one of the devotee of Sri Ramakrishna, she was a great devotee. A poor widow had nothing except her that idol of his beloved God, and she could see that God is always with her, and the child of Krishna, Gopala, and he is playing with him, all those things. So Sri Ramakrishna, he have a lot of wit. So when he sent that lady to Naren, later Swami Vivekananda, a champion of logic, reason, all those things, and just tell about your experience. But he is not and Naren was not an ordinary person. So the Gopalma describe everything, what daily is happening with me. Oh my son, is that right or my hallucination? Immediate hearing, you see, this is power of true realization. I'm talking about true realization. Immediately, Naren, the great scholar, immediately the tears came in his eyes. No, mother, what you have seen is right. So, real kind of that scholar or real kind of champion of logic. They value the faith also. So, afterwards we will come. Intellectual rigidity is really a form of fanaticism that evaluates everything in the light of its own creed. Those with a compulsion to reason cannot accept that which is easily acceptable by others and are thus haunted by a passion of knowing. When such people finally arrive at knowing, they do not have time to enjoy and appreciate what they know. Subtle thing. One who lives by reason is guided by the philosophy of necessity and utility. Such business-minded people are always looking for personal victory. They are never at peace because they are trying to know the anatomy of a peaceful mind. They never feel happy because they are always in pursuit of happiness, to enjoy the happiness. They have no time. Nowhere do they find truth, since they are determined to first define it. They are perpetually insecure because they are frantically trying to be secure. People of reason always live in the future. Please don't mind, there are a lot of things to say in favor of reason. We'll come to that point. So nowadays what happened, especially these small videos, they crop from the whole thing. So it's sometimes it becomes to say, oh, there are many things to say more. People of reason always live in the future because their present is made up of uncertainties and probabilities. Always anticipating the future, they make and draw up programs that are never carried out. You see, so-called intellectuals, be careful. We make our plans, but that never carried out. Unable to believe in themselves, they cannot believe in others. Doubts and determinism follow from inner devaluation, and the devalued personality is always pessimistic. Everything turns tasteless and dry. That Shashodat Tarkochuramani, that scholar. Everything turns tasteless and dry. The intellect becomes the victim of its own reasoning, creating problems that it cannot solve and raising questions it cannot answer. That which is infinite cannot be grasped by the finite mind. Our finite perceptions of truth and reality are not exhaustive but suggestive. That which is real and true in the ultimate sense can be felt but never defined and measured. It is seeing and not seeking. Seeing is a subjective experience. Seeking separates the subject from the object, while seeing brings them together and finally merges them. Seeing requires total commitment of the whole mind to the object of faith. Seeing is feeling, and it is done by the heart. So now, let us now go for in support of reason slowly. Now, what is faith and what is belief? These are two words, faith and belief. What the religious traditions call faith is really unquestioning belief in the authority of the scriptures or the doctrines of religion. Such belief has no foundation. Belief can turn into conviction only through conscious reasoning about what one believes in. One cannot really believe in something for which one does not find a logical rationale. Belief sometimes the, it depends upon our own imagination. You know, belief is a form of imagination, the creation of images and concepts, dogmas and creeds that are substitutes for ultimate truth. It is wishful thinking about truth and not truth itself. Truth becomes known only when we have risen above all beliefs and imaginings, and this is possible only through reason. What distinguishes the real from the imaginary is reason and not belief. Disunited from reason, religious traditions and beliefs can produce fatal results. To disbelieve in the efficacy of reason is to make the validity of spiritual truth contingent upon mystical experiences, which are always personal and private, possibly even the result of autosuggestion, hallucination, and mental degeneration. An individual may see visions and hear voices that can very well be the products of his or her own mind. Indeed, they are often the product of bereavement, worldly disappointment, or disease. When the validity of a spiritual truth becomes dependent solely on the private and personal experience of an individual, there is no end of uncertainty and self-deception. Furthermore, a spiritual experience may be borrowed. That is, the person has duplicated an experience he or she has read or heard about, or it may be a form of sentimentalism that can never be accepted as authentic testimony. On the other hand, there is a relation between faith and dogmatism. Blind faith is what has not been proved by reason when combined with the frenzy of emotions eventually leads to fanaticism. A dogmatic person is always a fanatic because of the uncertain foundation of his or her belief. Fanatics are not fully convinced about what they believe, which accounts for the rigidity of their views. Since they are not convinced they are right, they have no tolerance or disagreement. So when there is, subtle thing, when there is that no tolerance and disagreement, so they do not believe in themselves. In very core of their existence, they are insecure there. Not fully satisfied with their own views, they exhibit excessive tension and anxiety. They often claim that their views are the best and method most superior. Claims of superiority over others are a form of defensiveness. The more such people cultivate defensiveness and exclusiveness, the more fanatical they become in their views. Another subtle observation. Dogmatists are devoid of spiritual identity and individuality. Therefore, they make little on their own behalf and overemphasize the doctrine of the divine grace. Incapable of taking upon themselves the responsibility of a spiritual quest, they look instead for a means to passively satisfy their need for certainty. They are not searching for real truth, which requires honest effort, but for someone else's solution to the mysteries of life. You have own responsibility to solve your problem, but we want to overlook that. We do not want to labor. We do not want to put our sincere effort. But it's common sense. Whatever you already got in your life, you got it through your effort only. Just look back in your life. Anything you want to buy, you went to the market. Yeah? You want to see a beautiful scenario, you that bought flight tickets and went there. So simple. So there is important the importance of self-effort. But that they, psychologically speaking, a dogmatist is an immature person. Mature people never think that they are infallible or perfect. They are always anxious to enrich their store of knowledge by learning from others. A mature person is flexible and supple in his or her thinking. In the realm of religion, a mature person has a distinct and individual spiritual inner disposition, a decisive commitment to the goal, and the implicit conviction that he or she has spiritual potential. He feels that, and it reflects in his behavior. There is always a reason for what mature persons believe and conviction for what they follow. They exhibit honest doubt. They live neither on the memories of the past nor on the expectation of the future, but in the reality of the present. One who cannot distinguish between truth and falsehood in ordinary religious matters cannot recognize ultimate truth. Faith born of reason is the only testimony of truth. So, faith born of reason is the only testimony of truth. In contrast, the immature person in the realm of religion has a basic mistrust for teachings other than his or her own, suffers from insecurity, is isolated from those with different beliefs, and substitutes moralism, conventionality, and rigidity for spiritual conviction. So these were the arguments from both sides. So what we need? Harmonizing faith and reason. We need both. The contentions. Vedanta offers a synthetic view that reconciles faith with reason and answers these questions. What to do? What to follow? So first thing, the contentions of Vedanta are marked by several points of emphasis. The first, you see, there is no problem actually. The first of which is that the validity of truth depends neither on faith nor on reason, but on the realization of truth in life. Faith and reason both are in domain of your mind. No. The reality of God is not contingent upon the negation or affirmation of scripture or reason. Religion is realization. From the viewpoint of Vedanta, realization of truth is neither scholasticism nor blind faith in any creed or dogma or miraculous event, nor ethics tinged with emotion. You see, our ideas about realization. Ethics tinged with emotion. That is religion for us sometimes. Yeah. Realization is more than believing. Believers in faith run the risk of being deluded by their emotions, and believers in reason by their intellectual preferences. There is a difference between the conception of truth and its direct perception. between what we believe emotionally, comprehend intellectually, or really know spontaneously. Blind faith depends on theological evidence, while unbridled tourism relies on unrestrained skepticism. The extreme form of the first is dogmatism that often claims to know everything about God, and the extreme form of the second is the philosophy of atheism that believes more in denial than in anything else. Such faith or reason can never give us the certainty of inner conviction. The Upanishadic exhortation is, do not seek God, but see Him. There's a famous lecture, I think by Swami Ashokanandaji. Just seeing God. Do not seek God, but see Him. It is seeing through the eye of integral vision in which our entire self participates. Yeah. So when we think about God, we think our brain is participating, not your whole existence. My brain is thinking, my heart is thinking, but that's why it's different. Merely believing in existence of God is neither seeking God nor seeing God. Such belief or faith is neither conviction nor realization, but opinion, but mere opinion, unsubstantiated by personal experience. On the other hand, mere reasoning, because it is intent on seeking, is unable to see that which is self-evident. Realization is seeing the self-revealed. It is revelation and becomes possible when the instruments of perception are cleansed. That's the important point. Some devices are there, some instrument of perceptions are there through which we perceive that world. That are to be cleansed first. The goal of spiritual quest is liberation. Liberation does not mean going somewhere that we have not been before or acquiring something new. It is a state of being as distinguished from the feverishness of compulsive becomings. It is a unitive vision by which one sees one's own self in all things and all things in oneself. The state of liberation is that of perfect freedom that transcends all varieties of perception, moral, intellectual, and spiritual. A liberated soul is not just a knower of truth, but the very embodiment of truth. Here is another difference. He is not a knower of truth, he is an embodiment of truth. Realization of truth proceeds from an inner maturity or evolution that begins with the dawning of faith. Faith matures into conviction through reasoning and discernment. Intellectual conviction about truth inspires the mind toward uninterrupted concentration. Look at that. Both things are necessary. So when faith, it gets maturity, it gives that conviction. You are not behind something false, something solid. At Sri Ramakrishna, that we can, from inside you can feel that. So when you are going towards Ganga, the river, in a summer, let us think about summer. So slowly you will feel something. It is shanti means that you feel the cold. It is not that much hot enough. It is not hot that you are feeling when you are walking around everywhere. When you are proceeding towards Ganga, you are feeling more coolness. I still remember when I first visited Hardwar, Konkhal. So I still remember when I was going towards our center, our ashrama, by rickshaw, a three-wheeler kind of man-driven vehicle. So I could feel that the temperature has become more, more cold. So within a few minutes, I could find I am crossing the bridge. So you can feel that. And when you get down into the river, it is prashanti. Shanti, peace, it is absolute peace. So with the conviction, you will feel. You may not, before the final illumination, so you can feel something. So that is the thing. So it is from, where from it came? From faith, from the maturity of faith. So the contribution of faith matures into conviction through reasoning and discernment. What is real, what is unreal. And intellectual conviction about truth inspires the mind toward uninterrupted concentration. Intellectually, when you get that conviction, so sometimes it happened that concentration, it breaks. For some days you are doing very nice, but after some days you are not feeling that emotion, that joy anymore. Concentration breaks. So that if you need that uninterrupted concentration, it comes from that intellectual conviction. Intellectually also you must be sound, both way. You see, that's why you talk about Swami Vivekananda, he used to talk about 3 H. Head, heart. 1 H is for head, 1 H is for heart, another is for hand. So that is the part, I hope we have some time. So that H part also will come. So the realization of truth is possible only through the application of both. These two lead us toward the intuitive experience. According to Vedanta, there are 3 instruments of knowledge: instinct, reason, and intuition. 3. Instinctive experiences are automatic and unconscious, such as breathing. In such activities, the I consciousness remains dormant. Second, reason. Reason is the mature form of instinct. The vision of reason is wider than that of instinct. One's I consciousness becomes active when one uses reason as an instrument of knowledge. It got activated. The experiencer in this state is able to separate him or herself from the act of experiencing as well as from the object experienced. You are quite awake and alert. Yeah, you are not. You are no more sleeping. Your I consciousness, you are working with your. When I am taking that breath, I am not conscious about that. So it is from instinct. But when I am talking, and all those things, I am quite awake. What I am talking about. So reasoning. Experience through reason is, however, not direct because it is conditioned by reason. I am choosing what to say, what not to say. It is an experience that is conscious but not spontaneous. It is not a decisive realization because it is not supported by the entire self. We reason about a thing until we are convinced about it and are able to see it directly. An experience conditioned by and dependent upon reason is therefore not founded on the absolute certainty of realization. Now the third point. Intuitive is the mature form of reason and is always amenable to reason. The vision of intuition is the widest. We yet to taste it. So we are trying to figure it out. What to taste? You have to know where you are going. No, about the destiny, about the destination, you have to know. So we are trying to give it. It is the vision of intuition is the widest. It is superconscious, direct, and immediate. Intuitive realization never conflicts with the experience of relative facts, just as the adulthood of a person does not negate his or her childhood. It is always supported by reason. Intuitive experiences are marked by three characteristics. They are universal. They do not disturb or contradict faith, and they are conducive to the welfare of all beings. We have to remember. Around, what is going on throughout, everywhere. So three things about the real knowledge, real experience. They are universal. It's not for a certain sect. Some part of, they always say that some part of your religion is universal. It must be, should be. They do not disturb or contradict faith, and they are conducive to the welfare of all beings. So we have to shorten our discussion. So our Vedanta, they try to give a proper shape of your reasoning, that's why. There are many things. If you we talk about Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. First hear, contemplate on what you have heard and practice. Again, we talk about three points: Shruti, Yukti, and Anubhuti. It should be Yukti, Y-U-K-T-I, Yukti. Yukti means reasoning or reason. Shruti means testimony of the scriptures. Yukti means reason, and Anubhuti is the personal experience. The reason part, so testimony of the scriptures we understand, what we have read, what we have heard from our ancestors, my parents, our teachers, and all those things. And Yukti part, that is the reason part we are talking about. So, so the tradition of Vedanta mention three types of reasoning: Bada, Jalpa, and Vitanda. So if you read in Gita that when you are debating, so three kind of instrument you use, three types of reasoning are there. So Bada, what is Bada? Bada is academic reasoning, the goal of which is to discover truth without having a bias for or against the hypothesis. This type of reasoning seeks to establish facts by highlighting the merits of a hypothesis. Jalpa is reasoning in which the main purpose is to overthrow the arguments of the opponents by any means, rational or irrational. So Bada, Jalpa. Last, Vitanda. Vitanda seeks only to lay bare of defects of misrepresent or confuse the opponent's contentions without trying to suggest an alternative hypothesis. So in debating, you can see that two teams are using three weapons. But among them, Bada is best. Why? It is constructive. So in Gita, you can find that in Vibhuti Yoga, Krishna is saying that among the reasoning, I am Bada. So Bada Ratam Maham. So I am Bada. So, but rational reasoning in Vedanta is not arguing. Again in Gita you'll find Prashna and Pariprashna. Prashna means you ask a question to maybe for your personal victory. Sometimes our students do that in college. Have you seen what kind of question I have put? Our teacher became confused. So it was not to learn something, to establish his or her ego. That kind of question. So, but Gita says about another type of question, not prashna, but pariprashna. You are putting some question to know something. Your heart is open, your brain is open, to learn something. So, neither is it in Vedanta, rational reasoning in Vedanta is not arguing. Neither is it reasoning with any bias for or against the hypothesis. It is vichara. We call vichara. or a process of rational discrimination between real and the unreal. Absolute reality is affirmed by negating all that is relative. The contention of Vedanta is that an average mind is subject to irrational doubts, preconceived ideas, and personal sentiments. Unless guarded by reason, it can easily lapse into inertia and delusion. So, and last is anubhuti, personal experience. The last resort for an aspirant is personal experience. But even personal experience by itself is as incomplete and inconclusive as the foregoing methods. So, but that we have already discussed. The three things we have to remember, that this true kind of experience are marked by three characteristics. They are universal, they do not disturb or contradict faith, and they are conducive to the welfare of beings. Swami Vivekananda, he told that Vedanta is not only a philosophy. It changes your life, it transforms your life. So in a letter he wrote to a young man, he wrote like that: I do not believe in a religion or God which cannot wipe the widow's tears or bring a piece of bread to the orphan's mouth. However sublime be the theories, however well spun may be the philosophy, I do not call it religion so long as it is confined to books and dogmas. Again, during a discussion in Thousand Island Park, you can find it in Inspired Talks. The date is July 20th, 1895. He talked about faith and reason and our destiny, our true destiny, our destination, true destination of life. He told, stick to your reason until you reach something higher, and you will know it to be higher because it will not jar with reason. The stage beyond consciousness is inspiration, it is samadhi, but never mistake historical trances for the real thing. It is a terrible thing to claim this inspiration falsely, to mistake instinct for inspiration. There is no external test for inspiration, we know it ourselves. Our guardian against mistake is negative, the voice of reason. All religion is going beyond reason, but reason is the only guide to get there. Instinct is like ice, reason is the water, and inspiration is the subtlest form or vapor. One follows the other. Everywhere is this eternal sequence: unconsciousness, consciousness, intelligence, matter, body, mind. And to us, it seems as if the chain began with the particular link we first lay hold of. Arguments on both sides are of equal weight, and both are true. We must reach beyond both to where there is neither the one nor the other. These successions are all Maya. Religion is above reason, supernatural. Faith is not belief. It is the grasp on the ultimate and illumination. First hear, then reason, and find out all that reason can give about the Atman. Let the flood of reason flow over it. Then take what remains. If nothing remains, thank God you have escaped a superstition. When you have determined that nothing can take away from the Atman, that it stands every test, hold fast to this and teach it to all. Truth cannot be partial, it is for the good of all. Finally, in perfect rest and peace, meditate upon it. Concentrate your mind upon it. Make yourself one with it. Then no speech is needed. Silence will carry the truth. Om Doh Shanti Antariksham Shanti Prithvi Shanti Rapo Shanti Ushadhaya Shanti Vanaspataya Shanti Vishedeva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarva Shanti Shantireva Shanti. May there be peace in heaven. May there be peace in the sky. May there be peace on earth. May there be peace in the water. May there be peace in the plants. May there be peace in the trees. May there be peace in the gods. May there be peace in Brahman. May there be peace in all. May that peace, real peace, be mine. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace.